Hi everyone, Mrs. Lambert here again to show you how to write a character analysis. So other than giving you practice in writing, the purpose of a character analysis is to help somebody who's not read a particular story understand a character that's in that story. You're going to describe their traits and give examples of how they behave. I'm going to walk you through all of the steps to write a character analysis. So I'm going to give you, actually any of your teachers will give you one of these shaping sheets. These shaping sheets are meant to help you step by step organize your writing so that when you put all of the components of these different boxes together, it forms a paragraph. So each slide is going to represent a different shape. So you can pause this video at the end of each slide, which represents a box, and fill out your own and then move on to the next one. So the very first box is this little trapezoid, and it represents the topic sentence up at the very top. In the topic sentence of your paragraph of your character analysis, you're going to introduce the character, tell us what book it's from, who wrote it, and the character trait that they have. The example I'm going to use for this whole video is Katniss from the Hunger Games. So here you can see in the novel The Hunger Games, so I'm using the title, by Suzanne Collins, there's the author, Katniss, that's the character, is brave. So you can go ahead and pause this video and make your own topic sentence. After you've written your topic sentence, you're going to web off the word. So what we're going to do is we're going to circle that word brave and come up with 3 synonyms that you're going to use later that mean the same thing or similar to the word brave as the character is in the story. So go ahead and press pause and do this, and don't just open up a thesaurus and throw some words on there. Actually make sure that they're words you understand the meaning to. I chose courageous, selfless, and determined because I think that those are all things that Katniss is, and it's all related to her being brave in the book. So press pause and go ahead and do this for your characters, or for your character trait. The next box is for your evidence. This is one of the hardest this is probably the hardest box because it has 3 really important things in it. First, you have to include context. If you're in my class, I know that we hit hard on that a lot. This is when you're going to summarize or explain what's going on in the story during the time that you found your evidence to prove your point. So what this means is just because Katniss yells, "I volunteer," doesn't mean that the person reading your character analysis understands exactly what Katniss is volunteering for. So you have to give just a little summary to put the evidence into context. Then you're going to actually include your evidence. It's going to be a direct quotation from the book that shows evidence of the character having the trait. In our case, it's brave. And then you're going to include a citation. This is giving credit to the person who actually wrote the words in the quotation. It's going to be in parentheses before the end of the sentence, before the period, at the end of the sentence. You'll include the author's last name and the page number it came from. There's an example. If I wrote a book, it would be Lambert, 10, if the quote that you chose was from page 10. So now we can go ahead and read the example I came up with. Oh, very important, I started with a transitional phrase. I actually put an underline in your rectangle for your evidence so that you can start with a transition word as well. We're going to give you a list of transition words to help you include them into your paragraphs. For example, when Katniss's sister Prim was chosen as tribute to participate in the Hunger Games, a competition that would most likely leave her dead, that right there was my context. I had to include what Katniss was volunteering for. It's very important that the person reading our character analysis knows that she was defending her sister who might have gotten killed in these Hunger Games. Somebody reading your character analysis might not know that the Hunger Games was a fight to the death. So then now is our direct quotation. Katniss stood up and shouted, "I volunteer as tribute," to take her sister's place. And then I said Collins, which is the author's last name, and the page numbers. Go ahead and press pause on this video to help you get through your evidence. The next 2 shapes, or actually the next two boxes, are for your explanation. They are the circles, or I guess they're ovals. They're going to explain using the synonyms that you found in your topic sentence. Remember that web off the word that we did for brave and that you did for your own word? You're going to use those words in two sentences to help describe the character. So here are my examples. Again, I underlined some transition words. Clearly, at this moment in the story, Katniss is being courageous. Courageous is that word that, courageous is that word that I used, that I found in my very first topic sentence when I webbed off of brave. Because she knows that she can very likely be killed by taking her sister's place. Also, transition word, she shows how selfless she is by putting her sister's safety before hers. Selfless was that second web off the word I found for brave. Oh, go ahead and press pause to go back and finish up your explanation boxes. Lastly is your conclusion, and it's basically restating the character and the trait that you think that they have, but you're going to use a synonym. You're going to use that last synonym that you found for the web off the word of the trait that you used in your topic sentence. So mine was brave, and we found three synonyms. We've used two of them, selfless and determined. Oh, I'm sorry, selfless and courageous. Now we're going to use the third one, determined, to describe her in our conclusion sentence. To sum up, Katniss was determined to stand up for her sister no matter the price, period. So when I put, you can go ahead and press pause and do your conclusion. And when you put all of these boxes together, your paper should look something like this. Notice I have my transition, web off the word circled, brave, courageous, selfless, and determined. And I have my transition words underlined. For example, clearly, also. Obviously, in your final draft, you won't have to do that, but I think it's a good idea when you're planning your paper that you underline and circle these things just to mentally check that you have them all. And it also helps your teacher be able to see that you're including them as well. So afterwards, after you have your shaping sheet all filled out, you put it into a paragraph form. I indented and I underlined the title of the novel because it's a book and we always underline titles of books. Proofread, and then you're good to go. So this is our character analysis. In the novel, The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, Katniss is brave. For example, when Katniss's sister Prim was chosen as tribute to participate in the Hunger Games, a competition that would most likely leave her dead, Katniss stood tall and shouted, "I volunteer as tribute," to take her sister's place. Clearly, at this moment in the story, Katniss is being courageous because she knows that she can very likely be killed by taking her sister's place. Also, she shows how selfless she is by putting her sister's safety before hers. To sum up, Katniss was determined to stand up for her sister no matter the price. So hopefully yours works out just as well as mine did. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask me.